Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another interview on the Southern Cross Combat YouTube channel. I'm your host, Joel Rasmussen, and today's interview is with another gentleman who is on the road to UFC. It's very cool that a lot of the interviews I've been doing recently have been with guys who are on the road to UFC. It's cool to see the region getting that respect. It's with lightweight Mr. Dom Fan, who I'm very excited to talk to. This is the first time he and I have done like a what I refer to as like a sit down, like a long form interview. And it was really cool. It was really nice and really fun talking to Dom. We talk about, obviously, the upcoming fight, how it kind of came his way, his style, and why he is so, like, a violent, scary dude. We talk about training at Team Compton's, roller coasters get discussed in there, and many other cool things as well. If you do enjoy the video, please give it a like, a comment, and subscribe. Share it if you like it. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite part of the interview, bro? After you listen to it, let me know what the favorite part is. Thank you to Dom for the time. He'll be fighting either next Thursday or next Friday. I can't remember which one, because it's a 2-day event. You can watch that on the UFC Fight Pass. And without further ado, here's my interview with Dom Fan. G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen from Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his appearance on the road to UFC, I'm talking to Mr. Dom Fan. Dom, I thank you very much for the time. How are you today?
I'm doing really good, bro.
Excellent. I'm very glad to hear that. You're coming to me from the office in the gym. How is the gym today?
Yeah, man, it's good. It's a great atmosphere going on. We got a few boys in camp for fights that are upcoming. So yeah, always really good atmosphere.
So is this a post-training interview or a pre-training interview?
We just trained just now. Yeah,
What was today's class?
we did some grappling. Typically on Tuesday and Thursdays we focus more on the grappling side of things, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. we focus more on the striking. That being said, we always kind of mix it up. We never do just one thing. We're always kind of like it'll always have a touch of MMA with it.
Who were some of the gentlemen who were in today that you were training with?
I got lots of rounds in with Jackson Weir White. Um, that dude can be very difficult to hold down. So I'm excited to see him like tear it up on the Eternal scene. Um I also did some rounds with Ethan Mitchell, also very skilled. Moves super fast, hard to keep still.
I'm spotting in the background over your shoulder, there's a coffee machine. Are
Yeah,
you a coffee enjoyer?
I do love a bit of coffee. I have to limit how much I have though. If I have more than one like 16-ounce cup of coffee per day, I'm not sleeping later that night. But I love it so much. So yeah, when I'm out of camp, I like to have quite a few cups of coffee because I do really enjoy it. But in camp, I have to limit it because I need my sleep for recovery.
I am also very susceptible to caffeine. If I
Yeah,
drink one
yeah,
energy drink, it doesn't matter what time of day, I'm just staring at the roof. Uh,
yeah,
what
yeah.
how do you like your coffee? How do you take your coffee?
I usually have a long black with a dash of oat milk and a few shots of honey in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that seems to be like a strange one for people. Like people
Yeah.
aren't used to the honey being in it, but it's really nice. We got a Starbucks around the corner from the gym, and it's drive through, and I like the way that they make the coffee. It's like more American style.
Why the oat milk? Are you a vegan or anything, or you just like the oat milk?
Nah, I just feel like I don't know. I don't feel great when I train if I've just had some cow's milk. Like it just doesn't sit well in my gut that much. Um, and so I'll either have almond milk if I'm not training that day, or I'll have oat milk if I am going to train that day. It's like a little bit more high carb, low fat, like a bit like a pre-workout.
I'm going to be honest. Maybe it's an insight to me. I didn't know that that much effort could go into like a morning coffee. Are you like a
Yeah.
big like nutrition guy? Do you have a history of like a background in it or anything?
No, but I did work with TFD, like Geordie from TFD for a lot of my career. He's always been a really great help whenever I've reached out to him. Um and like he always helped me to like kind of educate me on different things that I was doing and like different ways that I could make myself a little bit more optimal when I'm training. Um, I'm also a bit of a creature of habit. So like I get that exact same coffee every day. Whenever I rock up to the Starbucks, they don't even need to take my order. They see me in the driveway and then they just tell me at the speaker that I can go on through, and they already start making my coffee. I always have like some oats with protein powder in the morning. So I kind of like doing the same thing. It gives me like gives me more time and room to think about training because I've already made like all my decisions for the day, you know?
As at the top, I mentioned it. We are talking because you are on the road to UFC. How did this happen? How did we get here?
Yeah, I was in the middle of like we were looking at booking another local fight. Um and we kind of got word that that the powers that be like the matchmakers for Road to UFC were interested in me. Um we found out like we'd probably get an offer pretty soon. Um, and it all kind of felt fake initially, you know, like I was kind of like, oh, like I'll believe it when it's in front of me, like when I get to sign the actual contract and then I'll believe it to be real. Um, but before then it kind of it is something that I've been waiting for and like dreaming of for so long that like it didn't really feel real until I got pen to paper, you know?
Uh, when did it begin to kind of sink in? Like, oh shit, here we
Y-
go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I found out like a long time before it got announced. But I wasn't allowed to announce it, so that was like doing my head in. Um, like the standard thing that people come up to you and ask is they ask, well, like, oh, like when's your next fight? Like if you're a fighter, that's one of the most common questions. And I just had to kind of like avoid the question because I hate lying, and I'm like, I don't want to directly lie to someone and be like, oh yeah, it's this one on Eternal, I'm doing it in June or something. So I had to kind of avoid the question, and I hated it so much. I just wanted to tell everyone.
Who was the first person that you told?
Um, First person I told, I think I found out from some of the boys at the gym, and then I turned to Tom Nolan, and I told him. Which I was stoked about. And then I got on the phone and I called my missus and I let her know like uh that it finally happened. And then I got on the phone and I called my parents as well.
How was your partner's reaction? How were your parents' reactions?
Yeah, they were stoked. They were stoked. They all kind of like also thought that I was going to be fighting in June for Eternal. So when I said it, they were like super shocked. They were like, "Oh shit, we didn't even know this was in the cards. We thought you already booked." Like, okay, this is awesome.
You mentioned Tom Nolan there, training partner of yours, friend of
Yeah,
yours,
yeah.
to be going through this with him, a guy who has made the UFC, and now it is your kind of time. What does that kind of mean to you?
Oh man, it's awesome. It is I'm so fortunate for being able to have Tom like have done so much of that stuff before me. Um like he flew me over when he fought Contender Series. So I got to kind of experience everything from the third person there. I got to watch um as he went through all the process that the UFC would put him through, you know, like any testing that they did or any media that he had to do. Um and it gave me the chance to experience that whilst not having the same pressure of being about to fight, which was really, really cool. And then there's always like little gems that like I'll talk to Tom about, and he'll drop about like different things that I'm feeling, and I can start to experience with like nerves or anything of it being my first international, and I can talk to him about like how he dealt with the same thing, which is really, really cool. It's beneficial.
I wanted to ask about that. What is kind of the feelings going into this fight? You're not a complete stranger to how the UFC run things.
Mm.
So kind of what is the emotions going into this?
Yeah, I think early on in the camp, I was like a lot more nervous than I am now. Um, I'm someone that feels less nervous the more I prepare, and I feel like I prepared really well for this fight. Um, I also think, like I said, like having chats with my kind of support team around me, my training partners like Tom and my coaches, Steve and Elliot Compton, and also my mindset coach, Eric Simmons. It's been really beneficial. And I'm kind of in a state right now where I am just treating this like any other fight. I think it's too easy to build this up in your own head as like, oh, this is like a completely different level of fight. Like I have to come out a completely different new me. But I don't think that's true. I think I got the offer for a reason. I think I'm the level I need to be, and I think I just need to go out and show that.
This is something I've heard you talk about before, but it's something that really interests me. I'd like to talk. I'd like to hear you talk about it more. You talk about being on the level, and as you said, there's maybe a want of like maybe I should change up, but what you've
Mm,
been doing is what gets you to the dance.
mm.
You're a man who is getting this opportunity, and you are bypassing a title. Tom Nolan did the same thing. What are your thoughts on kind of titles and their necessity for getting UFC opportunities?
I think titles are great. I think like especially like the Eternal title, I think it is great. I think that is a pretty big statement to the world that like that you're in a very good spot in the country. Like it's pretty undeniable that you're in a good spot when you're there. Um I don't think you have to have a title to get signed. I just proved it just now. Um I think the more important thing is definitely violent finishes, and kind of being exciting and marketable. I think if you have all those things and a title, it for sure will add to and it will help what you're doing. But if you don't have those things, but you have a title, then I don't think the title does too much for you.
The first time you and I did an interview, it was pre-fight. It was literally like at weigh-ins, and I asked you about the name Dom Marfan, not the name Dom Marfan. I asked you about the name Street Buddha. I didn't ask
Yeah,
you about your name. I was like, why are you named
yeah,
Dom? And you're like, my parents named me
yeah,
that. Sorry.
yeah.
I asked you about the name Street Buddha, and you talked to me about how it was kind of like a change in mindset of becoming
Mm,
very zen, but also very violent.
mm.
I wanted to ask about that because you put on such incredible performances. Is it just a decision to make? Are you just like, I decide I'm going to be exciting?
Yeah. I think for the most part, yeah. I think whenever I've gone into a fight and I've treated it as more than a fight, I've not performed well. Whereas whenever I've gone in there and I've accepted the fact that it is just a fight, not everything is in your control, but I acknowledge that I'm going to give absolutely everything I have and I'm going to go in there with violent intentions. Um, I always seem to fight better, always. And that was kind of like a change that I had made when I initially started calling myself Street Buddha. Was like I'd gone, well, I want to be violent in my fights. Like in that first fight that I came out with the name Street Buddha was when I fought Jordan Thomas, and I was landing these elbows on him from close guard, and I remember the referee started creeping in and telling Jordan to kind of like defend himself. And I intentionally eased it back off because I didn't want the fight to stop. I was having too much damn fun elbowing him in the face. It was great. Um, so that's kind of where I like feel the best when I'm in there with the intent of like I'm not just trying to like secure the win. I'm trying to fuck that guy up, and I really enjoy myself when I'm in that mindset. So that's what I'm trying to make sure that I do for this one. That I bring out the full street Buddha and that I go in there into this fight with that mindset of like I'm trying to damage this guy. I'm trying to hurt him. I want him to be sore on the plane ride home. You know, I win, lose or draw. I don't want him to be enjoying himself.
You mentioned some of the people who are helping you prep for the fight. You mentioned the teammates and the coaches, and you also mentioned a mindset coach. Is that mindset, the kind of the street Buddha mindset, is that something you came to on your own? Did you work with someone to kind of develop that?
Well, I initially came up with the name Street Buddha and I like that initial like mindset was just a change that had happened to me um, after my first loss to Quillen Salkeld. Um, since then, I have had help, like kind of like channeling that a little bit. I think I went too far in one direction of like kind of like over obsessing on martial arts, over obsessing on like uh, a damage based attacking style. And then I kind of wasn't as present in the moment as I needed to be. And yes, my mindset coach, Eric Simmons, has run me through a bunch of drills to make me better at being able to stay in the moment, being able to stay a little bit more present. Because like there's some times where like in the fight against Tom Pratt, like while I was on his back, if I had have been in that situation where I had have really just only gone to damage him when the choke was clearly available, I would have had the blinders on. I wouldn't have seen the choke, and that fight might have gone a lot longer. But as it was, I saw the choke the second it was there because I was present in the moment, and I locked up the choke, and that early finish would have been a large part of why I ended up getting signed. Um, so yeah, my mindset coach has done a lot to help me kind of stay in the moment, which is really beneficial.
I don't mean to ask you this question and have it be like specific dates or anything. Like this was the exact time, but you said you were before you got the call, you were kind of like, oh, I think I'll make a return in June, you know.
Yep.
You had a fight booked, the fight fell through. So when did you kind of roughly get the call? How long did you know before it came out?
Um, I reckon after my fight fell through, the date the fight was meant to be on, I think it was a few weeks to a month after that, I found out that I was going to be on Road to UFC. Um, Kind of made me a little bit suspicious that maybe my opponent wasn't injured because he also got on the same tournament. I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe this guy caught wind of the fact that he was had a good shot on the tournament and he didn't want to risk it on the local circuit and risk losing his opportunity. Um, which like like he's got to do what's best for him. Like I think it'd be pretty cool if I ended up fighting him in the finals. What'd be really cool is if I beat this guy, I get to fight Becker on the second round, and then I get to fight Daiichi in the finals. That'd be really cool, and that'd show the level of the Australian local scene that like three of the guys like ended up fighting each other anyway, just because like we're all quite good in the Australian circuit.
You just answer the next three questions I had for you. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask if you thought he pulled out because he knew that this was going to happen, and you said probably.
Yeah. To be honest, it occurred to me a lot later than it should have. Like I got told I was going to be in the tournament. I got told he was going to be in the tournament. I just thought it was a crazy coincidence. And then like a month and a half later, I was like, hang on a second.
Wait a
Uh,
minute,
yeah, hang
that
on a
son of a
second.
bitch.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't injured, that fucker. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think there's a strong possibility of that. That's a crazy coincidence if it isn't.
And a win here moves you on to the next round. Jack Becker, a man who's
Mm.
also fighting in the tournament, a win here moves him on to the next round. You guys are on the same side of the bracket. Uh, you put any thought into the possibility of having to fight a fellow Aussie to progress?
Yeah. I think it's very likely that we will end up fighting just because like I really do rate the level of the Australian scene, so I think he'll go out there and beat his opponent as well. That being said, I do think I'm better than him everywhere. I think I've got better jiu-jitsu. I think I've got better wrestling. I think I've got better striking, and I also think I tie it together a lot better. I do, however, think that Jack Becker is a very, very durable guy. Like if you watch some of his fights, like he is very, very hard to put away. So I see even though I reckon I'd end up outclassing him everywhere. I see it not being an easy fight. I see it being like a little bit of like a war, having to wear a few shots to give a few, that type of fight.
The people we've talked about so far have fought on the regional scene. People who are watching this interview
Mm.
kind of know who they are. You're fighting a Japanese opponent that not a lot of people who are watching this are necessarily going to know. You're fighting Yuji. What do you make of him? What have you seen of him?
Yeah, so he's 11-0, undefeated with mostly finishes. But he doesn't he doesn't have many wins against like any other prospects, and it seems to be a very common theme that I'm seeing over in Japan. That I don't know why, but their prospects don't seem to like fight each other all that much. Like you got a guy 6-0 in Daiichi Kamai, and you got a guy 11-0 in Yuji, and like it doesn't look like they've ever come close to finding each other, you know? So like that's interesting to me. Um, Yuji's opponents seem to be a lot more neutral records. There's some guys that are like 20 and 19 or 10 and 9. And it's like they're very beatable people. And I think Yuji does a good job at imposing his game when the other guy is a little bit passive. I think when the other guy is very aggressive and really trying to dictate the play, that seems to be the times that he's really struggled in his fights. And against myself, like I pretty much always dictate the run of play whenever I'm fighting. So I think he would really struggle to deal with what I have to offer. I think that's significant. I don't think I'm like anyone that he's fought before.
Do you think that's from a skill basis, or do you think it's that kind of mentality, like the I'm not going to take a back step, I'm not just going to let you do what you want?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's a skill set, but I also think it's I think it's like a strategic um approach, and then I also think it's the way that people train. I think a lot of people do a lot of sparring in like maybe like 4 ounce gloves, and a little bit more touch because they're trying not to hurt each other. And as a result, you get like really gun shy styles when people fight. And we're a little bit more of the elk here at Compton's that we'll do some rounds in eights, but we'll also do some rounds in 16s. So that you kind of get more confident at being able to stay in the pocket a little bit more and throw with a little bit of power without hurting your training partner. Um, and I think that can be really intimidating to someone that is a little bit more touch in their approach. And I think that's a little bit more how Yuji plays. So I think he's going to be forced to take a step back if we're in there trading to try to keep his range. And I think he'll run out of options very, very quick.
What is his style? What are the things he does well and the things he doesn't do well?
Yeah, so he's kind of got like a little bit of like almost a karate style of moving around. He's a southpaw, he bounces around. He's real like light on his feet. Um his his kicks are a big weapon for his whenever someone sits at range. And he throws a lot of hands, but mostly his hands are quite wild. I think he's a little bit open to getting cracked back while he's throwing his hands sometimes. I think his kicks are also pretty good, but I think he has to set to be able to throw those kicks. So yeah, I think my style takes away a lot of those weapons from him.
The lightweight division in Oz, we were talking about it just before, is
Mm,
incredibly stacked. So
mm,
much talent. Um, why do you think so? A good number of people from this region have been taken for this tournament across the weight classes.
mm,
Um, but none have more people representing than lightweight.
mm.
Why do you think lightweight has the most from our region has the most representation in this tournament?
That's hard to say. Hey, that's a good question. Um, yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I do know that like we already know that like featherweight had had Mangoes get a contender call up. So like, I think there's some people that are getting filtered into contender series instead. As I understand, Road to UFC is mostly like lightweight and below, so that kind of rules out like welterweights and above. I think they would more likely get contender series. Um, I would say flyweight in Australia is typically flyweight and bantamweight are probably a little bit thinner in terms of divisions than like featherweight or lightweight. Um, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't give you the exact reason. Those would probably be my best guesses.
That's fair. Uh, Something I associate with you, Dom, is I still think of you, and you still are like a very young guy. Did you think a UFC opportunity like this would be coming for you at like such a young age and early in your career? Not like early, but not like super far in.
Yeah, to be I'm kind of in two mindset because like part of me, like younger me when I was like an amateur, didn't think that it would be this early. But also like I don't know, whenever I fought Quillen for the second time, I got told before that fight that if I won it, I would be on Dana White Contender Series. But then he won it and he got the call up. So like part of me is like, oh, like I didn't think I'd get this opportunity while I'm this young. But the other part of me is like, I'm a year behind schedule. Like I've got to hurry the fuck up and get in there because I feel overqualified at this point. You know, I feel like I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna smoke these guys in this competition and I'm gonna prove that like I, to me, I'm already a UFC fighter and I'm fighting in this tournament to get in the UFC. So
That's awesome. I don't know. I just want to take a moment to say that it's so sick. I love that. And I
yeah,
love that attitude. And that's what like it feels like watching you fight. Like
awesome. Fuck
in a
yeah.
way, you talking about that fight earlier where you were dropping the elbows and actually wanting it to go on. I'm like, I've never watched a Don Ma fan fight and been like, he wants to stay in there. Never
yeah.
thought that ever. I've always been
Yeah.
like, this guy's coming to murder someone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that was the only one since my first loss to Quillen that went the distance. All the others have been finishes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, this is I'm having a great time. I don't know about you, but I'm having a great time. I'll admit
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's always great to see you. And even when I interviewed you the day of weigh-in, so a day before a fight, it was still smiles and it was still like very lighthearted.
Yep.
When does the switch kind of flick for you?
The more experience I get, the more I'm thinking that Switch uh shouldn't be so much a thing. Like I'm actually still a very violent person, even when I'm being playful. Like I still really want to hurt people. So I think I can literally let that happen during the fight and get the best results. Where I'm playful, so I'm bouncing around, I'm finding my opportunities, and then like as I sniff out the kill, it's like I smell blood in the water, and it's time to just do damage, damage, damage. Um, so yeah, to me, I used to think that it had to happen like during camp or like during fight week, and I think it gasses you out. I think it draws away from your energy, and I think it makes you a little bit too tense in there. Um, I fight better when I'm relaxed, and that's going to be a big thing for this fight week is I'm going to make sure that I stay relaxed, make sure that I'm enjoying the process, appreciating everything that is coming my way there, the opportunity being in another country like Shanghai. I've never been to Shanghai before. And yeah, just like enjoying every moment. I think that's when I fight the best, and I think that's when I make everything look very clean.
I was going to ask if you've ever had a chance to go to Shanghai before. You're traveling for work. It is a work trip, but do you get a chance to like hang out? Are you going to go look at anything?
Yeah, so I'm going to stay in Shanghai the week after my fight. Um, Part of that as well is like just to let myself know, like, hey, uh, if this goes 3 rounds and it turns into a bloody war, that's all good. I don't need to get on a plane within 12 hours, which would be dreadful. And I'm really content with that idea then, like being able to like uh, punch on with no real regard for like how my body turns up after the fight. Like I can deal with it then. And then also I think it makes fight week a little bit easier, like walking through Shanghai and seeing all the nice food. I think that would make fight week a little bit more frustrating if it was like, and I never get to experience it. But if I go, hey, just after this fight, I'm gonna get to have all of that food. Um, then I'm feeling happy about it. I really want to try all the street food and stuff. I'm very excited for the idea of that. I want to test out my gut, see how strong it is, see how much of a real Asian gut it is.
You are much braver than me. Is there
Yeah.
is there one specific like type of street food you're looking for?
Um, I not one type, maybe like do you know what? I don't know if it's a Shanghai thing. But I dropped into like Beijing, China at one point when I was like when I was young. I think I was like 9 years old, and I saw all those like scorpions and stuff on a stick, and like I never had it because I was like a 9 year old kid and I thought it was disgusting. But I really want to try some stuff like that now, you know? Like I want to try some weird shit. Um and fully immerse myself into that Chinese culture, you know?
I want to be seeing on Instagram some Donma fan street food reviews.
Yeah, I will post some weird shit that I'm
You
gonna
better be
have.
filming it, bro. I want to see
Yeah,
the reviews. I want a
yes.
full breakdown.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh, we talked about Tom Nolan earlier, and we talked about that in kind of like he is a guy who's in the UFC, you on your road. But then you mentioned the guys you're training with, especially today, Jackson Weir White, Ethan Mitchell, two guys who are early on and still on the regional scene. How is it for you to, I'm going to use the phrase, maybe be a bit more of a leader in the gym? You know what I mean? How do you find kind of being in that role?
Uh yeah, I guess it's a interesting thing. Like I'm probably one of the least mature in the gym. So um like I guess I don't usually feel like a leader. Except with the amateurs. Like I like to give them a little bit of guidance whenever I can. I think I think in many ways, even though I'm like getting a shot while I'm fairly young, I feel like I've taken the long route to get there in terms of like I've had some ups and downs in my career. You know, I've had two losses in my pro career and I've learned a lot of lessons. So I do think that there's some good gems that I can offer some of the up and comers that are that should kind of help steer them in the right direction a little bit. Um, but we got such a plethora of knowledge here. So like I even if I'm like one of the more experienced guys, like you know, we got Tom who's in the UFC, we got Elliot who's had like I think close to 70 fights in his career, which is like humongous. And then we got Steve who's like who's been coaching at this high level with bunch of different UFC fighters and ONE FC fighters in his roster. So yeah, I wouldn't say that like leadership role usually falls on me. Like I think there's got to be like four or five guys that are away from the gym for me to have to be left in charge, which is probably for the best. I'll probably burn the gym down. I wouldn't be very good with it.
You walk in and you walk in one day and yeah, the leadership's on you. You're like, what happened?
Yeah, yeah,
Something's gone significantly
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. There's been times where like there'll be like myself and one amateur left on the mats and Steve-O will be leaving the gym and he'll turn to the amateur and he'll say, "You're in charge." Yeah, as he leaves because like yeah, you wouldn't you wouldn't want to rely on me for that.
I you're assigned to Ruby
Yes,
Sports. I don't know what it was. The E Entertainment.
yes,
Dude, nailed it. I worked it out.
yeah,
Dude,
nice,
that's why I got this job, dude. It's
nice
you can
man.
see the brain work. But Elliot Compton is he's a manager under them. I assume he's your manager specifically.
Yes, he is now. Yes, yeah, I've switched over to him.
How do you go with like training with your manager?
Yeah. That's a funny question. Um, I look, I'm pretty confident that he would keep things professional, even if I subbed him in a round or something. Um, but it's actually kind of beneficial in the way that like if if I'm going through something, like I could get some like good news or bad news on a day um from my manager, you know. So then it like as one of my training partners, like Elliot's in a really great position to see how I am doing that day and maybe deliver that news to me in a different way, like with a little bit of sugar on the side of it, you know, or in a way that like needs to like motivate me, like needs to like kind of rev my engine a little bit. Um, so I reckon, yeah, it would pretty much always be a like a positive having a manager that actually trains with me.
If we could rewind the clock to I think it's technically one fight ago because I want to talk about after the Tim Rogers win.
Yeah.
I saw a photo of you after it was after the fight. You were like on the roller coasters.
Uh, was I?
I think so. I think you're in the photo. Blair's also in the photo.
Oh yes, yes, I was too. Yeah,
Are
yeah, yeah.
you
I went to
like a big
SeaWorld.
roller coaster guy? You
Uh,
look like you're having fun in it. You're like,
yeah,
"Woo."
yeah, yeah. I to be honest, I hadn't gone on roller coasters or anything for a while. Um, and I think it was more like myself and my missus and Blair and his missus, like we just wanted to go do something fun. And like we were all staying at the Gold Coast, and there's a bunch of theme parks around there, so we're like, why don't we hit up the theme park? Um, but it is a lot of fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I don't think it's something I could do regularly, just because I think like it does get your adrenaline going a little bit. And most of the time for me, I'm pretty robotic in the way that like I like my weekends to just recover and reset because I like to go for it during the week. Um, but it was a lot of fun. If I know that I'm not going to be like training for like the next few days, which like I typically like to take a few days off after the fight just to reset my central nervous system a little bit. Like then like yeah, I really do enjoy some roller coasters, yeah, and some churros while I'm there.
Well, as well, you're on holiday.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well earned churros.
Yeah.
I've never been to SeaWorld. Is there many roller coasters?
There's in SeaWorld, there's only like I think like three thrill roller coasters. But there's also like a Movie World around which has like a solid like I think eight thrill roller coasters. So it's quite nice.
What was your favorite one that you went on?
Favorite one, on in general, my favorite one that's at the Gold Coast would be the Superman Escape. Um, it goes 0 to 100 in like I don't know like 2 seconds or something, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think it kind of is a nice pastime. You go to like a theme park with like if you went to a theme park by yourself, the lines would be pretty monotonous. But going to a theme park with some mates that you're looking to catch up with anyway, you kind of get like 30, 40 minutes to just like chat for a while before you're like going and jumping on the roller coaster. So it's a lot of fun.
We've talked about the nickname Street Buddha before, but your name on this is D Money. Why is
Yeah.
your name on Zoom D Money?
Uh yeah, there's, there's no reason for that. You know what? I had people call me that as a joke all the time um when I was like 18. So I must have made the Zoom like a while ago. Um
Don't change it.
yeah.
I love it, but
Yeah, true.
it feels like a rap name.
Yeah, no, no, it's definitely not.
Not a hip hop fan.
No, I am a hip hop fan, but yeah, not me myself rapping. No.
You're telling me you don't ever bust out a freestyle on while you're in the drive-through at Starbucks?
You know what? When I was a teenager, I used to do. So,
Hell yes.
yeah, yeah,
Where's the Dot fan mixtape?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe that will come out one day.
Who was your favorite rappers that you would listen to?
Pretty stock standard, just like Eminem, 50 Cent. Um, who else did I really like? I really like Big Sean. I think he had a lot of really good lyrical songs. That kind of went unnoticed because he had like so many like pop songs that kind of like blew up and like really hit. So people kind of dismissed him as like pop rapper. But yeah, that'd definitely be another one. A little bit of Nas. Um, yeah,
Do you still listen to a lot of hip hop?
yeah. That'd definitely be the main genre that I listen to for sure.
What do you listen to a lot now? Like who?
I'd have to like check my phone for some reason whenever I get put on the spot with this
I'm
stuff.
so sorry.
I can't remember. Um, what have I been listening to lately? A little bit of this camp. I've been listening to a lot of the Marshall Mathers LP2. Um, I have
So
this thing where I'm so lazy. I never like search the album that I'm gonna look for, that I'm looking to listen to. So like if I've listened to like three different albums that show up on my like most recent page for like Spotify, I just end up listening to them on repeat for like months in a row. Um and then eventually I'll like remember that another song exists, and then I'll like type it up, and then that's my next song for like the next few months. But yeah, Marshall Mathers LP2 was one that I was listening to a lot this camp.
That's so funny you mentioned that because I also have been listening to the Marshall Mathers LP2
Oh,
recently.
nice,
Out
sick,
of
bro.
nowhere, I was like, you know what's a sick song? Berserk.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
nice,
I don't
yeah.
know why. I've just decided that recently. I was like, I've been fortunate enough. I've seen you fight in person at least once, maybe twice. I don't remember the walkout song and if it changes. Does it stay the same or does it change?
It's the same one now, so it's Business by Eminem.
Yes.
Which I was a little bit annoyed about initially because I thought that I wasn't going to get a walkout song in Road to UFC, but they asked for what song I wanted, so it looks like I do get one, um, which I'm stoked about because that's now my regular one that I walk out to. Yeah, it kind of sets my mind at ease, makes me have that fun, playful feeling, like lets me remember like, hey, I'm going out there to do something really, really enjoyable that most people in the world never get the chance to do. Um, and makes me happy, makes me enjoy fighting a lot.
The people at home are absolutely looking forward to seeing you go out there and do what you do best, which is be scarily violent. Dom, I thank you so much for the time. Between now and fight day, what does kind of the rest of your life look like?
Yeah, so well, tomorrow I leave for China. We're getting there a week early before the fight. Um, there's a few different like media obligations and stuff that I'll be doing while over in Shanghai. Um, but for the most part, the boys that I'm going with, um, Stephen Elliott Compton and Declan Wolfenden, uh, we'll just have a great time. We'll just like be talking shit the whole time. I'll be annoying Steve-O. He's so fun to annoy. He gets the shits. I had convinced him that we're all going to be in one big bed, and he hated the idea of it. I'd ask him if he wanted to be where he wanted to be in the line of spoons. Does he want to be middle left or middle right?
You don't get to be an end, bro. You're
Yeah,
in the middle. I've decided.
yes, yeah, exactly right. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a lot of fun until
Do
the
you,
fight.
as I mentioned before, like there's a big group of Aussies and New Zealanders heading over, and it's over the same 2 days. Do you have a particular relationship with anyone else who's going to be in the competition?
Um, Not really. I like I've fought a guy from freestyle before, so I know like back when I was amateur, so I know like some of the coaching staff there. I've met them and stuff. Um, I actually have never met Seb, but I'll probably go chat to him while I'm there. I've chatted to Aaron Tao before, um, but. Yeah, I think the rest of the guys in the tournament, I don't think I've ever really had any connection or talked to before.
Oh well, provide a good opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dom, I thank you so much for the time. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Best of luck. Safe travels there. Enjoy your time afterwards as well. Safe travels back, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Sounds good, bro. Cheers.